These are my eyebrows 12 hours after putting them on. Probably more than 12 hours because I put them on at 8 o'clock this morning and it's now 10:12. What I'm talking about there is the Surezia eyebrow pencil. I set it, put powder on, put my eyebrows on, and then set it with setting spray, and they lasted all day long. Yes, they faded a little bit. That was over 12 hours of using this. This is my favorite brow pen. I've even got myself a replacement for when this one runs out. I tag it below. I can get a full night's sleep and still look like I haven't slept since 1997. These dark under eyes have become one of my biggest skincare concerns, which is why I've been using the Dr. Melaxin Calcium Dark Spot Cover Eye Cream at 53. My under eye routine is not about trying to erase every single line. I am focused on dark circles, hydration, and making my under eyes look brighter and more refreshed. I don't mind looking 53. I just don't want to look like I've been awake for all 53 years. That's you. I've left this linked. If you're over 50 and foundation feels like it's just too much, you need to see this. This is the Jones Road Your Foundation Stick. And this is the kind of foundation that actually makes sense for me now. I don't have to cover my entire face. I can swipe it where I want a little bit of coverage, blend it into my skin, and build upon it where I actually need it. That's what I love about a foundation stick. At 53, I want my freckles showing and I want my skin to look like my actual skin. I don't want a mask. I want me just slightly more polished. I went ahead, I tagged it for you. I almost gave up on setting powder because apparently once you hit a certain age, powders like to find every single freaking line you have. I tried the Tarte Creaseless setting powder in the shade pink. At 53, I still need to set my concealer. I still want to take down shine. I just don't want to look in the mirror and discover wrinkles that I didn't even know I had. The trick for me is using a light hand and a powder that actually works for my mature skin instead of actually making it look dry and heavy. I am not giving up on powder. Just not using the same powder I did in 1997. Tag the one I use. About a really good contour and blush duo, especially when I get to pick both myself. This is SACHEU Beauty's Build Your Own Sculpt and Blush Duo, and that's exactly what you do. Pick the stay in contour shade that you want, and choose the stay in cheek shade that you actually want to go with it. I love these liquid formulas on my 53-year-old skin because I can blend them out and build up the color where I want it. Keep everything looking soft instead of harsh. A little contour brings back the definition, and a little blush brings the life right back into my face. And suddenly, I look a little bit more alive than I did about 5 minutes ago. I tagged them below. Chlorophyll. You know, the stuff that we talked about in science class that makes the plants green. Well, apparently, we're putting it in our water now or just taking it by mouth. These are the Nature's True Chlorophyll liquid drop. Once I started looking into chlorophyll, I wanted to actually know what people were taking it for. Chlorophyll and chlorophyll derived supplements are mostly used for their antioxidant properties. We'll also use them as part of the routine for internal deodorizing and general wellness. Also research looking at chlorophyll compounds and how they interact with certain substances in your digestive tract. A lot of the huge claims that you see all over the internet still need a lot of research done. No, I'm not going to tell you this little bottle of this green stuff is some magical detox. But I do like learning what I'm putting in my body and why I might want this in my routine. At 53, I've apparently gone from learning about chlorophyll in science class to learning what it can do in my body. Actually being excited about chlorophyll. I went down the rabbit hole researching this after my doctor recommended astaxanthin when we were talking about inflammation. And you know me, I'm not just going to start taking something without researching it and figuring out why the heck I should be taking it. That's when I learned that astaxanthin is a carotenoid antioxidant that's been studied for its antioxidant activity and its role for supporting healthy inflammatory response. There's also other research at astaxanthin for things like exercise recovery, skin health, and oxidative stress. I kept choosing bulk supplements astaxanthin. It's actually became one of the supplements that I consistently keep in my routine. My doctor may have introduced it to me, but that research rabbit hole is what convinced me that I wanted to keep on learning about it and what it could help me with. I went ahead, left it down there if you're curious. Nobody warned me that at some point my regular deodorant was just going to look at menopause sweat and say, yeah, I'm not equipped for this. That's why I started using the Carpe Underarm Antiperspirant deodorant, because the sweating changed, the odor changed, and I needed my deodorant to change right along with me. Carpe helps control sweat and odor, and for me, that means I'm not spending all day wondering if everybody else can smell what menopause sweat has done to me. At 53, I've accepted a lot of changes. Smelling funky does not have to be one of them. Taking pumpkin seed about a year and a half ago. I'm so glad this was already part of my daily routine. Or I even started taking that, weekly shot. As women get older, our hair changes for so many freaking different reasons. Hormones, stress, nutrition, menopause. There can be a lot going on. That's originally what sent me down the rabbit hole researching pumpkin seed oil. I use the micro ingredients pumpkin seed oil with saw palmetto. And one of the reasons that people are actually interested in it, it's naturally occurring phytosterols and fatty acids. Early research looking at pumpkin seed oil and hair health. I'm not going to tell you that one supplement is magically going to grow your hair. 53, supporting the scalp and hair that I already have. Absolutely something I'm thinking about. If it's something you're thinking about too, I went ahead. I left it down there. I kept on hearing women say, take magnesium. Okay, but nobody warned me there were so many different types of magnesium. Glycinate, malate, taurate, citrate. Suddenly, I just freaking felt like I needed to take a cost just to buy a supplement. That's one reason I use micro ingredients magnesium complex for women 20-in-1. Magnesium is involved in over 300 different processes in our body and helps support things like muscle and nerve function, energy production, and bone health. And instead of me trying to juggle a bunch of different magnesium products, I like having multiple forms together in one complex. At 53, I'm trying to support my body, not earn a degree in magnesium. If you want to simplify things, I've left them down there.